In Bruce Lee's first scene of the film to be shot, He Qian ascends to the Hall of the Unknown, narrowly avoiding a collision with Tian Da's lifeless body. Though it is the start of shooting, Bruce's face is already bruised from the battles fought thus far, some yet to be filmed, others never to be filmed at all. It is Bruce's first day in front of the camera on the Game of Death, and his first in costume. If the introduction Lee first looks upon him, then undoubtedly the top spot on the list must be reserved for He Qian's outfit, a full-length yellow jumpsuit with black stripes running down its left and right hand side. Designed and commissioned by Lee himself, the motivation behind the jumpsuit's design is simple. While other characters in the film select a stark, traditional wardrobe in keeping with their particular fighting disciplines, He Qian, who in Lee's script notes was nicknamed the Yellow-Faced Tiger in his professional fighting days, embraces a style by the more heightened, fantastical elements of the story. Lee and Nishimoto's camera work becomes more playful and expressive, such as this angle shot from the point of view of Abdul-Jabbar's character while sitting in a rocking chair. While invention was being encouraged behind the camera, in many other respects, filming on the Game of Death adheres to standard operating practices for Hong Kong filmmaking. Most infamously, no sound is recorded on set. Among other things, the lack of hindrance caused by having to accommodate live, sync sound recording allows film crews to shoot up to twice as much material as they would do otherwise, a blessing for anyone working on a densely choreographed fight scene on a low budget, often with a multilingual cast and crew. Typically breaking scenes into a conventional list of camera angles or setups, a master or a wide shot, the next angle. The economic rationale is self-explanatory. 35mm film and studio time aren't cheap, but an unexpected artistic advantage is a restless, dynamic energy that puts the action scenes in many of its Western counterparts to shame. In spite of the ruthless economy that came with the segment shooting production style, Lee holds firm when it comes to pursuing perfection during the combat scenes. The third day of filming begins with a wide angle, showing Lee toppling Abdul-Jabbar with a leg lock. The following back and forth between Lee and Abdul-Jabbar ends up taking no less than 7 takes to shoot, with the timing needing to be absolutely on point. You'll notice a pattern emerge in longer setups that require multiple takes. Lee and his scene partner may initially come across as stiff on the first couple of tries, as if attempting to remember the choreography while moving, but by the final take, with almost clairvoyant precision, the Guardian thrusts out his hands, halting He Qian's attack dead in its tracks. In his handwritten notes for this part of the fight, Bruce writes in Chinese a voiceover for his character, giving the audience an insight to his inner monologue. The voiceover says, referring to the Guardian, but the stylized nature of the words are in keeping with the heightened unreality of the tale being told. It is in this dialogue where the motivation behind the title of the Game of Death becomes clear. It refers not only to the mortal stakes of the pagoda heist itself, but He Qian's transcendence of his own limitations, in understanding and matching the Guardian's advantage over him, and how his true strength lies not in his physical abilities, but his transcendent mastery over, and acceptance of, the fear of death itself. He Qian begins to tip the scales back in his favour, if only for a short while. In one of the violent highlights of the scene, Tien nearly meets his end when the Guardian attempts to push his face onto the sharp end of a broken vase, until he bends the back of his head. However, the lack of a camera angle explicitly detailing how Tien is able to flip himself over in such a way where he lands on his feet means this scene is cut together awkwardly in any assembly of the footage. In a project so deliberately and ambitiously choreographed, it stands out as the one move one could reasonably call a cheat. We can speculate that Lee might have planned for a pickup shot at a later date, perhaps being doubled by Yuen Hua, the acrobatic stuntman that would later perform backflips for Bruce on Enter the Dragon. Once again, Bruce's choreography notes for the scene include a line of internal monologue potentially to be recorded in voiceover. Here, Tien assesses the advantage he now has over the Guardian. With his great size, he is going to find it difficult to keep getting up each time I knock him down.